Today, we have the luck of having Jason Medlock, who is a level 2 quantum healing hypnotherapy technique practitioner. And I want to share with you all what he has to say today.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Can't wait to get into it.
Jason, I am very, very grateful for the breakthrough I experienced after our quantum healing hypnotherapy technique sessions. As you know, as I told you, I did therapy for many years. God bless the doctors. But for me, it was, I experienced the breakthrough literally was with your sessions. And that's why I wanted to do this interview, because I'm so grateful for that. Tell me, how did you start the quantum healing hypnotherapy technique and how that came into your life?
Well, this has been a journey, Stephania, learning the techniques of quantum healing hypnosis, but meditation, becoming a transcendental meditator really helped me connect at a deeper level, the deepest level of transcendence. And that's what we call get into a place of peace and quiet using transcendental meditation. But that taught me that there's a way to communicate with the subconscious mind. And I'd already read Dolores Cannon's books, Convoluted Universe, 5 Lives Remembered. So I understood that the conscious mind was not a fallacy, but that you could connect to it. So I tried all these different techniques. I tried, using meditation. I tried to use astral projection to sort of reach this higher level of consciousness. And I then decided to become a level 1 practitioner. And I just read Dolores's books and I understood the connection and what would it be and what would it be like to help people grow and to help people heal from injuries, help people to understand how to remove blockages. And so I said, hey, let me just try this out. I was already an accomplished remote viewer. I was already accomplished associate remote viewer. So quantum hypnosis was another technique that I wanted to use to affect the subconscious mind, to help my clients reorganize the way they think. Neuroplasticity. We know now from scientific research that the brain is plastic, that we can create new neural pathways. And hypnosis, even clinical hypnosis, helps a person rewire their thoughts and rewire their mind. But quantum hypnosis allows a person to see a different side of themselves, to experience past life regression work. And I said, you know what? This is going to be something that I'm going to want to add. And I think this will be one of the main tools that I use to help people. So then I decided to join Dolores Cannon's School of Quantum Healing Hypnosis. And it's been fabulous.
So you started off as a Methodist, right?
Yeah.
How did you integrate everything, the quantum healing, hypnotherapy knowledge, and all the different spiritual knowledge into your faith, your core faith, right? Like I grew up Catholic.
Yes.
I went to a high school, with nuns and we were all women. And then I found Krishna consciousness and I fell in love with in India, and I learned about meditation. So I integrated everything and that has been a blessing in my life. How was your journey through that?
I am elated you asked that. I am a Methodist and I still am. But when I look at hypnosis, when I look at quantum healing hypnosis in particular, and all the different modalities that I practice, they all centered around spirituality. And you mentioned when you found consciousness. Wouldn't it have been great when we were at church every day of the week that they were teaching us that as well? And why do we have to go to the Eastern culture to learn all these things? It seems like a level of control. And I'm not sure if it is or if it isn't. But Western culture in the churches, I just wasn't taught those things. Well, when I was able to wake up, when I started my spiritual walk, the first documentary I watched was The Secret. And I understood that metaphysics is real. The law of attraction is real. Manifesting is real. So I can move myself into a deep meditative state. I can lower my heart rate and then I can reduce my blood pressure because I had high blood pressure. I can do that. Wow. If I move myself into a deep meditative state and I continue to tell my subconscious mind that I want to leave the body, I want to travel, you mean that I can pop out of my body into an astral energy body and travel? I write about these things in my book, Empowered by Consciousness, which was an Amazon bestseller. I write about astral travel. I write about the law of attraction. I write about water alchemy technique. I write about different modalities, remote viewing, of things that we can do as just regular human. So I recognize that we are living in this third dimensional construct. One night I was trying to go to the Akashic records. And I've been trying, just like the normal person. I'm on YouTube trying to use a technique, and I accidentally slipped out of my body. And there I was in the corner of the room at the top of the wall, looking at my body. And I was trying to swim down so I can get to the floor. But I remembered Dr. Bob Monroe, Far Journeys. I remembered Aaron Pavlin. I remembered Aaron Pavlin, the Astral Projections Guide workbook. And I remembered the techniques that you can't move as if you are in the physical realm. You just have to think it. So I thought to myself, floor. And I was at the floor. I thought to myself, past this door, and I was on the other side of the door. So now you ask the question, you were a Methodist. How did you integrate your religion and you're working in all these different modalities? Because the veil was pulled over my eyes at that point. And I knew at that point that we were more than just the physical, that we were non-physical as well. And Stephania, this fueled me to want to know more, to want to know and understand consciousness. And ultimately, it led me to understand that we're all connected. We're all connected in Christ consciousness. We're one. We're individually a spirit. And when we incarnate here, we have the illusion of separation. But we're not separate. We're not alone. We are loved. And these facts and these findings have helped me continue to, I believe in my faith. I do believe in God, but I know he's much more powerful than expressed in the readings that I grew up on.
So Jason, I want to ask you because what do you tell in this case as an expert and professional to people who worship and carry all their faith, right? We have to respect all religions and faith in the world right now. We need unity more than ever. Yes. How would you tell that to someone who doesn't believe in past lives and the importance of just healing, like a therapeutic, right? Tool to complement other things, to help you heal things. There's many people ill. I don't know. I have had many issues physically and mentally. And thank God to Quantum Healing Hypnotherapy Technique and your experience, I experienced a breakthrough. So I feel like this is a very important, thing to say to people who would like to know, but they don't believe or they don't resonate with past lives or that kind of faith.
Yes. I love that. People call me and they want to talk religion before they get to understand what quantum healing hypnosis really is. And when I get those type of calls, the first thing I say is, well, tell me your experiences, and tell me what's going on with you emotionally, or do you have a physical issue? Let's talk about that first. And we'll get through all those issues and emotions that they may be having. And I say, well, now let's talk about this. You have a physical injury, okay? And we know that physical injuries, that if we have a cut on our hands, hypothetically, and we know that the brain then sends a message to the cells. And then the cells rush to that area, releasing antibiotics and whatever they need to do to heal the cuts. We know that through science, okay? But who tells the brain to do this? We know the brain sends a signal to the cells to go heal that area. but who tells the brain to do this? And that question, I posed that to the individual who's asking about religion. And they'll say, well, I don't know. I said, well, your spirit, your higher self, God, whomever you hold in that regard in a religious fashion, whatever name you want to give that person. And I don't like to say person, that entity of power gives a signal to your brain, then your brain gives that signal for the healing to take place within the body. And so that when we address religion, I normally don't. Religion has nothing to do with quiet, peace, and relaxation. And that's all hypnosis is. It's going into a relaxed state. There's nothing where we're trying to say, you will eat, 10 hot dogs, or you will jump off a building. You're fully aware in clinical hypnosis. You're fully aware, some people are, in quantum healing hypnosis. And sometimes people don't have the awareness, but they can hear themselves talk. It has nothing to do with religion. It only has to do with healing and helping you get in such a relaxed state so that we can move you deep theta to the somnambulistic state. And at that point, theoretically, Stephania, if we're then able to ask a question that you wanted asked, can you heal this cancer for Stephania? Yes. Well, how will you heal her? We'll use light and we'll use sound. So you're asking the questions. You're writing the questions down, and I'm just simply the person who's conducting the interview. I'm the person who is moving you to the deep state so that I can get your answers from your own subconscious, from your own higher self, from your own spirit, so that we can direct that subconscious, that spirit to heal this area. Same thing if the spirit was saying to the brain, hey, there's an issue, there's a cut on the hand, send the cells there to heal that cut. So I try to eliminate the religious talk because there is no religious attachment when we're doing quantum healing hypnosis.
Wow, that's what a wonderful journey, and how lucky you are to experience that and to be of service of others. That's pretty cool. Anything that you want to share in particular at the end? I would love to hear a very special story from you. But in this case, I want to ask you, how did you start the remote viewing? How that intuitive gift, that special intuitive gift came to your life, and how you're using it for good. And also how amazing through this intuitive gift, it gave you the whole other jobs as a quantum healing hypnotherapy practitioner.
And that's interesting because remote viewing is something that requires the use of the subconscious mind. So for instance, I'm a scientific remote viewer. Tony Civilelli was my coach. What a fantastic coach I had. And scientific remote viewing basically is a step-by-step process. So you would look at it as a psychic, but you're doing a process to find the unknown object that's unknown to you. And we use 4-digit numbers. And those 4-digit numbers are embedded in a object or a picture or someone's thought. And they may say, hey, listen, I want you to find an object for me. And they know what the object is. And here's a 4-digit code. And they'll say it several times so it can be embedded in the ether of space. Because we download information from the ether, Christ consciousness. So, we then go through a process: taste, touch, smell. Is it tall? Is it short? Is it wide? Is it medium? Does it feel soft? Does it feel rocky? All these different steps to understand what exactly it is you're trying to remote view. I'm also an associate remote viewer. Now, an associate remote viewing is yes and no questions. I was trained by David Wallace, one of the top psychics in Hawaii.
Wow.
And he has a book out, and forgive me with the name, but he uses associate remote viewing to place bets, to use it for the stock market. and all in different ways to make money. So there's a different style with that type of remote viewing, but you can also use it for business decisions. You can use it to understand, hey, if I'm going to Las Vegas, which casino should I go to and which machine should I play? And I can give you a 60% accurate assessment on which one you should go to and which one you should play, just based on remote viewing. And Russell Targ, the world-renowned remote viewer, he has a formula that we use to complete that process. But Stephania, when I used those two modalities, it was all about accessing the subconscious mind. You have to move your subconscious, your mind to different places to see, and use your subconscious mind to give you the answers. It's just like using a muscle test. It's just like using a pendulum. You can get the answers that you want from the energy in your body, and the subconscious will move you one way or the other. So I said, wow, these things are connected with understanding the higher self. The higher self will always give you the answers. It'll always show you which direction to move in. And I saw the parallel with quantum healing hypnosis, and how when we regress people into the somnambulistic state, and when we learn that deep theta state, then you start to have a conversation with the higher self, with the subconscious mind. And you're asking questions. Will Nancy ever be able to fight this level of depression? And then you'll get a response, yes. But what does Nancy need to do? Nancy only needs to understand that to love herself first and then love everyone else. And those are some of the responses you get. But with the training in remote viewing, the training in associate remote viewing, understanding what the subconscious can do, uncovering objects that you don't know what they are, getting the correct answer to things that you want to know, it illustrates the power of the subconscious. And it made me want to be the best I can be in quantum healing hypnosis. And that's really how I use remote viewing and how I bridge that gap of understanding. And I take my lessons into using quantum healing hypnosis for my clients.
Wow, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So now regarding that, why the subconscious mind and why past life to bring the healing?
Well, the subconscious mind in the past lives that we live, and we've lived many lives. This is not the only lifetime. You know, there's spirits that are occupying this avatar. And when you are ready to incarnate in anybody, in an animal, as a flower, there are many, many lifetimes that we've lived. But how do we use past life regression therapy that is built into quantum healing hypnosis? We use it to identify where the healing may be, where the blockages may be. And so that when we enter a past life, we try our best to understand what's going on. Where are you? Who's there next to you? What color are your clothes? We try to paint the picture, the scene that they're looking at, so that we can find information that may be helpful to them. And in the pre-interview process, as we're speaking with our clients, we're understanding all the things that have gone on in their entire life. And we then understand all the things that they want to change. And then we understand all the characters, the aunts, the uncles, the brothers, the boyfriends, all the childhood friends, all the people who influenced them in their life. And once we can understand the list of characters, because when you're incarnated in this avatar, it's just like being in a movie. You are living this life in this body. So these entities are connected to you, and they follow you throughout your life span, your life journey in this third dimensional construct. So we find out all these characters, and that helps us determine once we have the client in the trance state. And then we're moving them to different past lives so that we can find information. We look at all these lifetimes and we try to figure out where's the trauma, where are the issues, So that then once we move to the subconscious, then we can get the questions answered. Because we've seen where in this third lifetime we looked at, maybe the husband was abusive and maybe the woman was killed by her husband. And now in her current life, she's dealing with a lot of trauma. She's afraid to go to the movies. She's afraid of heights, and she doesn't know why until we do past life regression therapy work. And we figure out that she still is carrying this fear of the husband who was trying to kill her. So that's how we use past life regression to pinpoint where the issues may be.
Wow. So I wanted to ask you something very special. What's the higher self to someone who haven't, heard about this before? What's the higher self, and what's the importance of taking care of your body, mind, and spirit? Like, how do you take care of yourself so you can manifest great things, the things we desire?
That's a great question. The higher self, the subconscious mind, God, Buddha, whatever you want to name it, is the higher being that you worship, that you look up to, the spirit in your body, the energy, because our bodies are made of light and sound. And there's an energy that powers this avatar, a brilliance about you that you don't know, that's directing your life. So the higher self is just that. And it takes many names and it takes many forms, but we can communicate with it. There are too many past life regression therapists. There's too many case study work done by Dolores Cannon. There's too many practitioners of quantum healing hypnosis throughout the world that have made these connections. And how do we use the higher self and the information? How can a person really, really grow themselves from the experience in their everyday life? What can they do to become better than what they were and achieve the goals that they want? Well, the first thing is eat super clean. And we call them superfoods. Foods that help clear the body and cleanse the body so that you can have a direct connection that's much more clear than you would if you was filling your body with junk. My spiritual advisor, Chloe Moores, she's taught me most of the techniques that I know today outside of quantum healing hypnosis. And she always told me to have a clear channel. You must eat light to have more of a light body so that the connection comes in that much greater. You must eat foods that are not dead. You must eat foods that are from this earth, not foods that were created on this earth, to have a clear connection so that it can serve you while you're trying to manifest. It can serve you when you're trying to attract things that you want in your life. And the overall health of the mind depends a lot on peace and quiet. And meditation takes you to a level that also encourages clarity and this level of peace and love. Love in your heart more than anything can help you grow yourself into whoever it is that you want to be.
So we have to sit down another special day and talk more about this. There's something like a special story that you would like to share, like in your journey, in your spiritual life?
Yeah.
Hear that?
Yeah, I have a few things, but I'll tell you this one. But my first quantum session, I was a level 1 back then. Now I'm a level 2 practitioner. But I had a young lady who did not want to wear contacts anymore. And she couldn't really see without her contacts. She needed either these glasses or wearing contacts. So we started the session and I went into a deep meditation and I asked her to give permission for me to ask questions of her subconscious before we even started. I told her to spend the whole week declaring that you want this healing. So we get in this session, Stephania, And I moved her into this state, and she was going through it. And when I said, "Where are you?" She was a little baby, and she was speaking like a child. And I'm like, whoa. Okay, I've done all the worksheets. I've looked at all the video. I've been studying this, and this is my first session. And this grown lady was speaking like a child. And she was real sassy. And my grandmother, she'd give me anything I want. And she'll do this for me. I'm like, okay, hold your composure, hold your composure. So I was trying to hold my composure. But anyway, we get through that. We get through all that. And I moved her to another day. And she was at graduation. And then I moved her to another day, the last day of her life. And she was old. And she was in the bed. And I said, well, who's around you? It's just people in here. I said, are you okay? I'm coughing right now and I'm sick. And I said, what happens next? I don't know. Well, tell me when you leave the body. And then she leaves the body. She says, I'm floating now. Where will you go next? I'm going to go towards the light. And so when I moved her out of that and started asking questions to her higher self, her subconscious mind, one of the questions I said, Karen wants to remove the contact lenses so that she can see without using me. They hurt her eyes. They always watering, itchy. Can you help Karen with this? The subconscious says yes. And I said, well, how will you do this? We're just going to use light. It's my first time hearing this light term to heal. I says, okay, to make a long story short, once we finish, I'm bringing the young lady Karen out of this state. And I'm like, 9, you're feeling your body now. You're feeling your arms. You're ready to rise. You've been asleep. You've been resting for a while, but you're coming out of it real nice. 10, wide awake. Feeling great all over. And I said, well, open your eyes now. I can't open my eyes. And I'm like, okay, the manual says to calm her down. So I'm thinking, I'm like, calm down. Just calm down. They're still working on your eyes. You wanted them to allow you not to use your contacts so that you can see without them. Just relax. And I just started talking to her. And a few moments later, I said, well, we're going to open your eyes now. And she opened her eyes. And I said, are you okay? She's like, I'm fine. What happened? I'm like, you were frantic about not being able to open your eyes. She was like, but I feel great. So typically in quantum healing hypnosis, it takes 3 days after the session to see the results, along with listening to the audio, because the audio has healing data. Now, this was like 4.5, 5 years ago. And to this date, I email her because she sends me clients. She has not used contacts since. Yeah. And that was an incredible story. So I always think about that particular session. And I'm like, wow, studying and you think where you want to go. It's not like I'm driving a car. I'm just thinking, outside. I'm thinking, a view of the neighborhood. And boom, I can see the neighborhood. Move me more towards downtown Houston. And now I'm kind of hovering in home. And I'm back in the home, in the body. And this is not just my account. There are hundreds of books. There are a number of YouTube podcasters and people who work exclusively in the astral projection realm. But it's not something that's I made up. I'm just giving you my experience. But there are people that are more accomplished at doing astral projection. But when I think of 2 stories I can tell you that really, really have resonated with me, it had to be my first quantum healing hypnosis session. And then the few times I was able to leave the body, and it was a breathtaking experience. But now that I've used all these different tools, I've been able to move more into mental performance coaching. I've been able to move more into neuroscience coaching. I'm certified in both areas. And again, the subconscious mind, I work with people to reach deeper portions of themselves, deeper parts that they were not been able to attain, to promote healing. And from all this work, now I'm able to help from a mental capacity, coaching, helping people cognitively refrain from these emotions, these thoughts that come into their mind when they're about to make a bad decision, when they're about to give up on competing on the athletic field. When you're in a boardroom meeting and you're nervous because you have a presentation or a interview for a new commercial that you're trying to win the job for, having that mental control. So I've been studying the mind from that aspect and studying neuroscience, understanding how you perceive. The amygdala in the back of the brain helps you with perception. Either you're going to see things in the yellow, the red, or the green. And when you see things in the red, from a perception standpoint, it means trouble, anger, get help fast. You're almost out of control. When you see things in the yellow, you're sort of in the middle. You don't feel good about it. You don't feel bad about it, but you're stuck. You have a few options, but not many. But when you perceive things in the green, you always feel good first. You always feel good about it. It gives you the most options.
Well, Jason, thank you so much for your time today, for dedicating your life to bring the benefits of healing. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here today. And just can't wait for our next conversation on our next quantum healing hypnotherapy technique.
I'm glad to be here. And when you called, I said, you know what? I better get myself together and get over here. And I so admire you for all the work that you do in the world of movies and television and commercial and film. So I just think that you are a beautiful inspiration to all the young ladies out there that are aspiring to be an actress, that are aspiring to be a producer, and anything that they want to do. So I want to commend you as well. You're welcome.